Some place in the edges of Japan, a researcher called Mayumi is going to a little town, where individuals have experienced something startling that ate a large number of their companions. The researcher can distinguish the creature as a gyaos, an ancient monster that is equipped for developing into unbelievable size. She promptly asks individuals where the creature came from, to which all residents answer by pointing towards the close-by sea. Quite a while back in Tokyo, a man is attempting to save his girl by placing her in the vehicle, and he returns to the building to save his significant other also, who's attempting to recover their feline iris from under the bed. An enormous creature known as Gamera drops solidly into the city, breaking all the glass while causing an enormous blast. The mother runs out from the room, just to see that the monster is just outside their window, and the creature pushes over the whole building as it kills everybody inside. The girl hollers for her parents' name as she sees the monster thundering angrily, previously awakening from the repeating bad dream inside her bed. It just so happens, she is Ayana, and her main family that is alive is her more youthful sibling who she really focuses on profoundly. She currently lives close by her temporary family, who she struggles with coexisting with, because of the girl's powerlessness to relinquish her past. What's far more detestable, she's continually harassed by her female schoolmates, who needs her to go into a haunted temple, and eliminate the stone that is probably catching a demon inside. With no other decision, Ayana chooses to wander into the cavern, and she shows up into a dim tunnel, where she sees a stone that resembles a turtle shell. The girl moves toward the object and touches the outer surface, making Ayana recall her scorn for Gamera as the stone shines, and she feels that something has been lifted. Fortunately, one of her colleagues, Morab, shows up to her salvage, and scatters the Japanese mean girl right away. The boy makes the way for track down his companion, just to see that Ayana is conveying the enormous stone towards the entry. Morab stops the girl, and tells her that they should return the item to its legitimate spot, as any development can cause the arrival of the underhanded evil demon that is inside. Albeit the girl struggles with accepting the fables, she chooses to do as the boy expresses out of regard. In any case, they notice something unusual that hadn't arrived previously. As a huge egg shows up before them, simultaneously, individuals of Tokyo start seeing something odd overhead. As an enormous blast immerses the city, a massive creature tumbles from the environment while canvassed on fire, landing on the city, and causing enormous blasts in the populous community. While everybody shouts in dread, a giant turning object moves toward individuals too, transforming into a massive turtle as it lands onto the area and pounding all that is under. After the residue at last settles, individuals understand that the monster is the infamous Gamera, who shouts angrily at the group. Prior to turning towards the adversary, the giant turtle approaches what is all the earmarks of being an injured gyaos, opening its mouth and shooting a torrent of blazes at the foe while making huge blasts in the city. A second gyaos approaches the city while spitting laser at the buildings, handling a huge hit on Gamera's body. Be that as it may, the kaiju counters immediately, as it opens its mouth, shooting various fire balls at the flying monster while exploding the whole city and sending everybody into the air. Gamera keeps shooting the assaults, as the foe attempts frantically to avoid the flares, causing huge harm in the process while it flies through the city. The massive kaiju shows up before a restaurant, making everybody weakling in dread. Yet all the same, the creature shoots a flood of blazes into the building, lastly stirring things up around town foe, making the beast explode into a million pieces as it wear out like fireworks in the sky. The assault is communicated into the information as everybody watches in shock, and Ayana is at long last ready to observe the horrendous result of Gamera's assault, making her contempt for the kaiju considerably more profound. Yet again the following day, Ayana chooses to visit the secretive structure, yet after entering the cave, she's amazed to see that something is slithered out from the egg. The girl sees something on the ground and connects for the article, just to see that a black stone that starts sparkling upon her touch. Before Ayana can sort out what's happening, she hears developments in the shadows, causing her to pivot and observe something genuinely surprising. Around evening time, Morab chooses to visit the sanctuary too, and sees that the entryway is evidently open. He examines further by going inside the cavern, and tracks down his companion Ayana close by an enormous creature that is brimming with limbs, not certain, assuming he ought to be turned on or alarmed. The boy attempts to caution the girl about the risk of the creature, yet Ayana clearly feels weak at the knees over giant appendages. In any event, naming the creature Iris, after her departed feline, she attempts to give the creature a few food and notification that it has no mouth. However, they are stunned to see the monster cutting into the metal can and sucking out everything inside. It is plainly hazardous to show that Iris. Simultaneously, the Japanese government has chosen to take up arms against Gamera for annihilating Tokyo and killing huge number of individuals in the city. The residents are generally supporting the country's decision of killing the kaiju. However, there are certain individuals who accept that Gamera is their actual friend in need for annihilating the gyaos. Yet again in the meantime, Ayana chooses to visit the sanctuary, Yet this time she sees that the spot is totally obliterated, as though something has broken out. She races into the cavern and understands that Iris is missing, making her run outside as she yells for the creature's name. Shockingly, the girl is capable hear a reaction and runs towards the sound, figuring out how to track down the arm monster. As she embraces the creature and apologizes for abandoning it, to her shock, Iris starts suspending high up, as it changes by delivering even more appendages simultaneously, and developing a lot bigger too. Ayana sees the creature's new structure, and ends up being extremely energized as she opens up her shirt, welcoming the monster to take hold of her by utilizing its monster appendages, consuming her into its body. As the night draws near, Ayana's temporary parents become stressed by the girl's absence. Furthermore, starts calling all companions, telling Morab all the while. The boy surges towards the place of worship and enter the cavern, just to see that Ayana is secured in a casing. As her feet are hanging in the air, Morab runs towards the monster and starts cutting open the obstruction, making do to extricate his companion as he rips off the arms. In any case, Ayana stays oblivious regardless of what he does. He brings the girl out from the cavern, and the paramedics convey her onto the rescue vehicle, while individuals observe powerlessly as the vehicle drives away towards the city. Feeling that the Gauss are answerable for the assault, the military show up inside the distant town, where the researcher Ayumi chose to show up too. They come to Ayana's home, yet are astonished to see that the spot is totally annihilated. Individuals cautiously enter the building, and is stunned to see various bodies that are totally dry. The military takes out the people in question, and the researcher discovers that this was not the main area that was gone after. As the greater part of the locals are killed, Ayumi goes towards the sanctuary where Ayana was found, and enter the cavern, where she analyzes the biomass that was abandoned by Iris. What's more, understands that the assault was not connected with any Gauss. As individuals exit towards the entry, they see a boy who ends up being Morab. Furthermore, the lady pursues him, wanting to find reality with regards to what occurred. She figures out how to make up for lost time to the boy, and guarantees him that she just needs to help, permitting Morab to uncover everything about his companion and the creature. Ayumi comes to the hospital in the wake of learning reality, and she's astounded to see the stone that is on the girl's accessory. The researcher calls one of her dear companions, Asagi, and tells her that they have met. It just so happens, her companion was recently associated with Gamera through clairvoyance, later getting a stone that is basically the same as Ayana's. Asagi imagines that this new monster should be basically the same also, and that implies that Ayana is as of now associated with the monster through her psyche. This is exceptionally hazardous for the little kid and everybody around her, as the monster will attempt to rejoin with her at all expense, and obliterate all that is in the way. In the meantime, a couple is partaking in their setting up camp outing while they head into the timberland, attempting to have a good time in the shrubs. In any case, the man understands that something is off base as he observes an arm that is a lot bigger than his own. It just so happens, Iris has filled decisively in size, as it dispatches its massive weapon at the girl, puncturing into her body and hauling her away. In the wake of getting the harm report from the towns, the military chooses to send significantly a greater amount of their soldiers towards the area, wanting to obliterate the creature unequivocally. The military shows up where the kaiju is evidently laying lethargic, and starts shooting every one of their weapons towards the enormous creature. Making Iris answer right away, the monster raises every one of the limbs as it attempts to escape from region, while the soldiers release all their firepower towards the adversary, however causing practically no harm all the while. Iris in the long run chooses to fight back, as it cuts across the whole field and sending everybody high up. The soldiers attempt to withdraw, however the kaiju delivers all its energy as it causes a huge shockwave that kills everyone. Simultaneously, Ayumi has shown up inside the hospital, and chooses to remove Ayana from the city for her security. They rush towards the air terminal to take the flight, however everything is closed down due to an enormous tropical storm that is nearby, basically establishing them inside the city. Their circumstance turns out to be far more terrible, as the giant monster can fly into the environment also, charges straightforwardly towards the city. The military sees this and sends two of their battling jets towards the foe, as they fire at the creature utilizing every one of their powers. Be that as it may, Iris figures out how to avoid the disasters and shows up behind the pilots, sending off its huge arms at the troopers while they frantically attempt to get away. The kaiju keeps shooting lasers at the warrior jets, yet, they notice something else drawing nearer and thumping Iris away and uncovering itself to be Gamera. The two giant monsters assault each other angrily overhead, while charging through the climate with mind-boggling speed. Gamera dispatches at the foe and driving through the air while transforming into a monster turning sharp edge. However, Iris counters by utilizing its arms and shooting various lasers at the kaiju, rather than aiding their rescuer. The people chose to change their objective to the giant turtle, and plans to hit it with lethal force, while Gamera is pursuing Iris, lastly acquiring the high ground. the rockets hit the giant turtle from behind. The bombs cause enormous blasts in the air and permitting the foe to get away, yet Gamera can recuperate rapidly and pursues Iris right away. While the giant arm monster drops into the city underneath, the tremendous animal shows up underneath the downpour mists and gradually slides into the populace focus. While everyone individuals shout in dread as they attempt to quickly get away, Iris recuperates from the arrival and starts detecting Ayana's presence, while the girl feels a similar association too, making her take off from individuals as she attempts to get to higher grounds. Iris starts moving towards the girl and causing tremendous harm in the process while it towers over everything in sight. Ayana at long last comes to the rooftop and sees the kaiju coming her direction, yet Gamera plummets from the climate while being pushed by its rockets. The reptile starts energizing fireballs from its mouth and sending off them at the adversary, yet, Iris figures out how to repulse the assault easily, bringing about absolute obliteration around the region. Ayana investigates the sky and sees the giant turtle crashing down from a higher place, arriving in the city as it crushes into various structures before at last making a stop. The two Kaijus gaze at one another inside the blazes as they plan for the last fight, very much like the temporary peace before a violent upheaval. Iris starts to go after the giant turtle as it pushes the monster in reverse, thumping it into a train station as the kaiju smashes everything beneath. Ayana gazes at the fight with contempt in her eyes, and yells for Iris to kill Gamera, while the monstrous creature wounds its weapon into the reptile's chest, making the kaiju shout in desolation. Asagi attempts to prevent the girl from doing additional harms, as her craving for retribution is killing the whole city. Yet Ayana just needs to see everything on fire. Iris takes out its weapon from the reptile, making the creature shout in torment. Previously, both Kaijus collide with the structure together as they crush the designs into pieces. Iris figures out how to acquire the advantage and tosses the giant turtle out from the opposite side, making Gamera crash onto the ground. The building starts to disintegrate down, which thumps individuals onto the floor, while Iris starts to detect the presence of the girl as it pivots towards the stage, the monstrous creature beginning strolling towards Ayana, as their clairvoyant association develop more grounded, making the giant monster shine in splendor as it gazes down at the human. Simultaneously, Morab has shown up inside the air terminal also, and the kid surges towards his companion and attempts to save her from the creature, yet, the giant monster starts responding to the impedance. This makes the kaiju's chest open up as Ayana at long last understands that something is off base, while various appendages jump start out and thumps the Morbi flying out of sight. Iris starts opening its body and hauling the young lady into its framework, consuming her through and through. Ayana starts having dreams of her past and seeing the creature annihilating her encouraged family. As she understands that her contempt has straightforwardly made innumerable individuals die, she starts recalling as she suffocates in the animal's body, and sees the second that Gamera has killed her folks. Also, understands that the kaiju was simply attempting to save humankind by dispensing with its most prominent danger. Understanding her mix-ups, Ayana asks for this to stop as she falls further into the creature, yet, out of nowhere, a brilliant light shows up as Gamera sprinkles open the kaiju's chest, and snatching onto the girl simultaneously. The giant turtle attempts frantically to save the human by tearing her out, yet Iris counters right away and cuts Gamera right on its hand, catching the creature set up too. The Kaijus are constrained into an impasse, yet Gamera understands that Iris is depleting its energy through the monster limb. This permits the foe to energize for a last assault as it starts conjuring colossal sums of energy from its appendages. Gamera sees this and must choose the option to spit fire on its own hand, severing the arm, all the while lastly liberating itself from the foe. As it gets the girl away from the creature also, Iris fires the laser radiates at the reptile. Yet the kaiju can obstruct the assault furthermore, siphons every one of the flares into its body, prior to sending off everything back towards the foe. The assault was strong to the point that it enters directly through the rival, as Gamera starts delivering all the energy and making Iris detonate all the while. The whole structure is shrouded on fire as a huge shockwave scatters very high. Fortunately, individuals can get by as they took cover behind the walls, and they make it out into the huge opening where Gamera is strolling towards them while taking hold of Ayana. The creature gives the girl to individuals as they attempt to resuscitate her, in the long run permitting her to recover awareness as she gradually awakens. Ayana questions why Gamera would save her regardless of what she has done, yet the kaiju as it were answers with a delicate moan, practically like it was saying sorry too. Morab makes it out from the building too and embraces the girl, while she apologizes abundantly for her activities. What they don't understand is that the fight is just beginning as various Gyaos are running towards the city in the wake of detecting that Gamera is significantly injured. Be that as it may, the kaiju keeps strolling towards the flares as it gets ready to fight by and by, not able to permit mankind to be annihilated. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.